What's going on? All thanks for tuning in once again. Let's talk junior middleweight boxing. Let's recap Fundora versus Tszyu. Fundora comes away with the win by split decision. So it was a fight that nobody was expecting. That Fundora would win. Tszyu being a heavy favourite. The thing is that Fundora is always a guy that could box on the back foot. I mentioned this in the breakdown. A 6'6" southpaw that can box. Very dangerous for any opponent, especially the champion, especially on a 2.5 week notice. And Tszyu, he started the fight really well. I thought that he was, landing some great shots with the right hand. He was calculating his shots quite well. He managed to, find his range really well in the first 2 rounds. He also broke Fundora's lows. I believe it was the end of round 1. Great start to the fight from Tszyu. Then, of course, round 2 comes, and right at the end of the round, unfortunately, Tszyu's lunging in there with a power shot, trying to jump inside the pocket, deep inside the pocket to land something big. I believe he knows that Fundora is hurt. He knows that he's hurt his nose. And unfortunately, he gets caught from an elbow to the head. And that's where the fight changes. That's where, you ask yourself, how can Tszyu not want to stop the fight? Obviously Tszyu being the fighter, he's going to want to fight, but I'm talking about his corner. His corner was unable to pull through for him. He's fighting for the title, and the corner allows the fight to continue. It's up to the cut man to, speak up on this occasion. Obviously Tszyu's a warrior. He's going to fight regardless. We see a lot of fighters that they don't care how bad it feels, how bad it looks. They want to continue fighting. Think Tyson Fury against Wallin. Gets cut, deep cut, manages to win the fight. That was this sort of fight. The referee should have stopped it. But most importantly, Tszyu's corner should have forced the fight, to be a no contest. Understand that it wasn't from a punch, it was from an elbow, so it could have easily been a no contest fight. It was only the second round, and that costed him the fight. That decision that they continued to let the fight happen. Another thing that costed him, a lot in this fight was his cut man. The cut was on the head, on the top of the head. The cut man could have easily used more, steroids, or, it's not in the eyes, so you can use a lot more, medicine. You can use a lot more to try to stop the bleeding. Pushing down on the head, we all know pressure is going to cause the blood to flow more. I don't know what they were thinking. If they couldn't stop the bleeding, surely, after the next couple of rounds, they would have said, hey, we can't stop the bleeding. Let's stop this fight. Let's make it a no contest. That was a big game changer for Tim. That momentum of hurting Tszyu, breaking his nose. It seemed like he was bothered a lot from the blood. Obviously, Fundora, he was boxing a lot better than I thought. I think it was because he had the broken nose. He managed to turn away from Tszyu. You know, he wasn't really standing square. In other words, you know, he was rolling his shoulder a lot. You know, he was making sure that he wasn't there to be hit. He was sticking him a lot, you know, jabbing him, crossing him, throwing a lot of straights, you know, understanding that Tszyu's the faster guy, but hey, if I'm going to catch this guy, I'm going to catch him with the straight. You know, which happens a lot, you know, when they're fighting Orthodox against Southpaw. And I just think, you know, the momentum from Tszyu, from the blood, from, you know, him thinking about, you know, the cut, I believe it bothered him. But I also think that Fundora, you know, done a great job having a broken nose. You know, I understand he went the full 12 rounds with a broken nose, managed to, you know, keep up with the pace, managed to keep Tszyu away from him, managed to land him, you know, snap the head back a couple of times. So, I mean, well-deserved win from Fundora. You know, I'm not going to take anything away from him. And thankfully for him, you know, there was no rematch clause. So, I mean, he's the champion. He's the champion. And now he's going to fight Terence Crawford. And it's funny, you know, because I was saying that this fight would have been the perfect tune-up for Terence Crawford for Tszyu, because, you know, Terence Crawford's a guy that's so unpredictable, and because Tszyu only had, you know, a couple of weeks to prepare for Fundora, this fight would have been perfect for him, just to, you know, adapt to a different style. You know, Crawford's a guy that can change up the style in the fight. You know, I mean, if you're fighting Terence Crawford, you want at least 3 or 4 sparring partners to come in. You know, that's how good he is. You just can't predict what he's going to do in the fight. You know, it's pointless, you know, sitting on one fight and trying to, you know, study your form. You know, that's not going to work with Crawford. You know, you got to be prepared to fight a guy that can change up the fight. And I think, you know, for Tszyu fighting a southpaw last minute, because Crawford is a naturally orthodox fighter, you know, that would have been the perfect fight for Tszyu, you know, to prepare for Crawford. In Fundora's case, I mean, he just finished beating Tszyu. It doesn't get any better than that for him. You know, now he's got momentum, he's got confidence, he knows that he can keep a puncher away. He knows that he can box on the back foot. You know, see, Fundora, I thought that he would try to come forward, you know, because he doesn't really sit down on his punches when he's on the back foot. You know, it doesn't really hurt guys when he's on the back foot. But because Tszyu's cut was there, you know, it was almost like he had that confidence to beat him because he was already hurt. You know what I mean? So, I mean, this is the style that Fundora needs to use against Crawford. You know, Crawford is just too, you know, he's too good at changing the fight. So I think that Fundora needs to do what he done against Tszyu, you know, which is box on the back foot, use the straights, and, you know, to keep Crawford away. You know, use that hard advantage. You know, it's pointless dropping, you know, 2 guards down, staying square, and then getting another Mendoza knockout loss. You know, that's what caused them the loss in the last fight. You know, dropping the guard with a double guard down, leaving himself wide open. So, I mean, you know, him turning shots away and using the jab and the straight, you know, you never know. You know, Crawford versus Fundora, you never know what can happen. I'll definitely do another breakdown on that fight. But with this one, you know, I was disappointed with Tszyu's corner. You know, costed him the title. But at the same time, you know, Fundora having a broken nose, you know, using different techniques in this fight, you know, instead of coming forward on the front foot, you know, dropping the guard down, fighting deep inside the pocket, you know, he used his height, he used his straight shots, and he you know, boxed really well. You know, in my opinion, I thought he won, well deserved. And, you know, this is what boxing's all about. You know, upsets do come, styles makes fights, and obviously, you know, I hope that Tszyu understands that he may need a new cut man. You know, he may need a new cut man in his next fight. That's my take on it anyway. Leave yours. Look forward to the comments. And, you know, there's a lot of good fights coming up. You know, Canelo versus Munguia. You know, I'll probably do that one next. But, yeah, as I said, you know, leave your take on it. Look forward to the comments. And I'll catch you next time. Peace.